And before we do, folks, we just have your attention for a moment. We got a couple of acknowledgements. I'm going to start first with, we have, I'll just wait for you for a minute while you get your conversations over with. Thank you. Can I have Ms. Skinner stand up there by the back for a moment? Amy Skinner, in the back. You stand up right by the doorway there. Thank you, right there. Thank you. I just acknowledge we have Amy Skinner here. She's the Wyoming Liaison from the National Conference of State Legislatures. She's here to visit with you about any NCSL services that you'd like to talk over with her. She'll be here in the Senate lobby throughout the early part of the afternoon. Then she has to head back out, but we welcome her to the Senate. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. Could I have the state superintendent come in for a moment with his guest? There you go. Come right up here and I'll have you do a brief introduction, and then we're going to have previous teacher of the year here to speak to us. We had to have a little delay because of COVID, but State Superintendent Schrader, would you just go ahead and do an introduction?
All right. Well, we all know that teaching is both a gift and a calling, and this young lady that I'm going to introduce today fulfills both. We have the privilege of welcoming Wyoming's 2022 Teacher of the Year. Brittany Montgomery is a first grade teacher at Harrison Elementary in Green River. Has also taught kindergarten, but presently teaching first grade. Mrs. Montgomery had a love for teaching from a very young age, becoming the fourth generation of educators in her family. Every student that Mrs. Montgomery encounters is treated as if they were her own child. When schools shut down, Mrs. Montgomery began reading stories online to help children keep a sense of normalcy. This was quickly picked up by a local news source, and story time with Mrs. Montgomery was shared with thousands of children across the country. Please help me welcome this talented educator to the Senate, Brittany Montgomery.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and Senators, for the privilege of the floor. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here speaking in front of you all today. I am honored to be representing the great state of Wyoming, and I am humbled to represent Wyoming educators, the best in the nation, in my opinion. As I stand here today, it's grounding to think of the numerous influential people that have stood here before and fought to ensure the future of our state. The decisions made here in the next few weeks are critical to ensure that our future is bright for decades to come. The last few years have been a trying time for our country and for our society. Significant change has come from the challenges that we've faced. The world we live in today does not look like it used to, definitely not even a few years ago. It's time that we reevaluate how we see education and how we see our educators. Wyoming students are the most important asset we have in this state. Arguably in the country, in my opinion, Wyoming has the most important students. Hopefully you also agree with me. Our children are navigating how to live in a digitally driven, continuously connected world. They have unlimited access to more information than any time in our history. Just ask a 3-year-old how to use the phone. They can give you lessons. I know mine have taught me many things. Students are being asked to do more and at earlier and earlier ages. In kindergarten classrooms today, children are reading. They're reading fluently, accurately, and comprehending. But not so long ago, our students in kindergarten were there for half a day, and that included a nap. So it's very different. Our Wyoming students are being held to standards that many need more time and support to meet. We are seeing an increased need for social and emotional learning to support and address the challenges our children are facing. Even still, our Wyoming students continue to show us and persevere and show us how resilient they truly are. Wyoming educators are also proving how resilient they are. Teachers are being tasked with more than ever before, but given the same amount of time to accomplish these things. It is almost impossible to even give a single definition to an educator these days. We teach, obviously, but we're also counselors, cheerleaders, caregivers, creators, interventionists, specialists, actors. Sometimes we're mom, sometimes we're dad, and once I was even called grandpa when someone was very tired. These are just a few of the extra titles and responsibilities that we've assumed over the years. We're seeing the effects of the added responsibilities and pressure on that our educators are under right now. Nationwide, a staggering high rate of educators are leaving the profession and pursuing new careers, taking all of their experience, their passion, and that love of learning with them. As well, the number of college students entering the profession of education is dwindling. Education does not seem like the #1 career path these days. Wyoming students deserve to have quality educators, and Wyoming educators deserve to be valued. It is essential that we find a way to combat the high rate of burnout and to address the difficulty in new teacher recruitment. I recognize the hard work you all have done in this very trying session, and I also realize how much more work you have ahead of you. I thank you for your dedication to the state of Wyoming. I thank you for the time, the thought, the passion that you put into making sure our future as a state is a bright one. I leave you with this thought. If Wyoming educators continue to leave and new teachers' numbers continue to dwindle, where will the next generation of our Wyoming leaders be? Or where will they come from? And that is all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to visit the Senate. Wish you all the best in your career and continue to make differences with our students. Okay, members of the Senate, we'll go back to work here. Go ahead, Senator Ellis.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have privilege of the floor?
Please do.
So, Mr. President, before we left for lunch, I announced a group that is in Cheyenne, and I wanted to give you a more formal introduction of who those individuals are. We have some outstanding educators with us today from the Wyoming Department of Education's Level Up program. Hopefully, you were able to meet some of them during our lunch. The Level Up Leadership Program seeks to elevate Wyoming's education professionals by providing leadership development to an annual cohort of Wyoming's leading educators. This program will help education leaders build relationships that cross district lines, increase the knowledge of what's going on in other parts of the state, and help these leaders develop strategies to continue to engage with their community. This year's Level Up Leadership cohort is made up of the 2022 District Teacher of the Year, Principals, and Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science teaching finalists. So please welcome these outstanding educators who are up in the gallery to the Wyoming Senate.
Welcome to the Senate. Thank you for all you do. Any other privileges? Senator Cost.
If I may have privileges of floor?
Please do.
One of those young ladies up there was not only a student of mine, but she's an outstanding teacher, and I think the world of her. So Darcy Ribble, Darcy Ostermiller is her married name, from Powell, outstanding, does a wonderful job, and I had to say I was very proud to be a part of her life.
Thank you, Senator, for acknowledging her. Okay. Let's proceed with signing of enrolled acts. Enrolled Act number 7, read it in.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 7, being Original Senate File 59, an act relating to public funds.
I'm about to sign Enrolled Act number 7, the same being Senate File 59. So signed. Read and enrolled Act number 8.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 8, being original Senate File 58, an act relating to the Wyoming Council for Women's Issues.
Thank you. About to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 8, the same being Senate File 58. So sign. Please read in Senate Enrolled Act number 9.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 9, being original Senate File 57, an act relating to courts.
About to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 9, the same being Senate File 57. Signed. Please read in Enrolled Act number 10.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 10, being original Senate File 46, an act relating to the prioritization of municipal solid waste facilities, cease and transfer projects.
About to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 10, the same being Senate File 46. So signed. Please read in Senate Enrolled Act number 11.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 11, being original Senate File 45, an act relating to defense forces and affairs.
About to sign Senate Enrolled Act number 11, the same being Senate File 45. So signed. With our visitors in the chamber this morning, I missed reading a couple of messages from the House. I'll ask those to be read in now with additional messages from the House that we've already received. So if you could read those in.
From the House of Representatives, March 3, 2022, message number 193. Mr. President, Senate File 67, state-funded capital construction, passed the House on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 44, noes 15, excused 1. House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting the listed amendments. Message number 192. Mr. President, Senate File 66, American Rescue Plan Act Recovery Funds Appropriations, passed the House on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 41, noes 18, excused 1. House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting the amendments. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk. Message number 196, March 4, 2022. Mr. President, the following bills passed the House on third reading by the votes indicated. Senate File 45, Military Department Annual Report. Ayes 49, noes 6, excused 5. Message number 197, Senate File 46, Solid Waste Cease and Transfer Program Funding. Ayes 55, excused 5. Message number 198, Senate File 57, Chancery Court Vacancy Amendments. Ayes 55, excused 5. Message number 199, Senate File number 58, Wyoming Council for Women's Issues Workforce Services. Ayes 55, excused 5. Message number 200, Senate File number 59, Game and Fish Fund Investments. Ayes 55, excused 5. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk. March 4, 2022, message number 194. Mr. President, Senate File 6, Aquatic Invasive Species Inspection Enforcement, passed the House on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 47, noes 8, excused 5. The House respectfully asks Senate to concur by adopting amendments. Message number 195. Mr. President, Senate File 35, Electric Vehicle Charging Stations Regulation Exemption, passed the House on third reading in amended form. Ayes 54, excused 5, conflict 1. House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting the amendments. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk. From the House of Representatives, March 4, 2022, Mr. President, the House did concur on Senate amendments to the following bills. Message number 201, House Bill number 39, pre-application determinations for licensing. Ayes 53, noes 2, excused 5. Message number 202, House Bill number 43, trophy game, big game, and wild bison license allocations. Ayes 34, noes 21, excused 5. Message number 203, House Bill number 45, mine reclamation bonding, voluntary assigned trusts. Ayes 38, noes 17, excused 5. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk.
We have a concurrence, but I think we're going to wait till we get appropriations back on the floor, so we get a full vote on that. Reports from standing committees in.
March 4, 2022. Mr. President, your Committee Number 4, Education, to whom is referred House Bill 10, engrossed, Tribal Reference Amendments, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with a recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes, Senators Beitman, Ellis, Rothfuss, Salazar, and Scott. Senator Scott, Chairman. March 4, 2022, Mr. President, your Committee Number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 71, Driving While License Suspended, Enhancement Amendment, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Cooper, French, Kolb, Cost, and Nethercott. Senator Nethercott, Chairman. March 4, 2022, Mr. President, your Committee Number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 85, engrossed, Child Endangering Controlled Substance Use While Pregnant, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Cooper, French, and Kolb. No, Senators Cost and Nethercott. Senator Nethercott, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Floor Leader, could we have a motion to resolve ourselves back into Committee of the Whole?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. Let's go back to work. Senator McEwen.
First bill on our consideration is House Bill 005. Excuse me, House Joint Resolution.
House Joint Resolution 5, Permanent Mineral Trust Fund, Investments and Distributions, sponsored by Capital Financing Committee. A joint resolution proposing to amend the Wyoming Constitution to modify and modernize the Permanent Wyoming Mineral Trust Fund. It was referred to Committee Number 2, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes, Senators Guru, Hicks, Perkins, and Steinmetz. Senator Kinski, no. Senator Perkins, Chairman.
What do I do with it? You've heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Senator Perkins.
I ask that we lay that House Joint Resolution 5 back until they get back. Move on to the next one.
Our next bill for consideration is House Bill 72.
House Bill 72 engrossed, Hunting License Application Funds, sponsored by Representative Summers, an act relating to game and fish. It was referred To Committee Number 6, which returned to committee recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes Senators Ellis, Landon, Salazar, and Schuler. Excused Senator Garou. Senator Ellis, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of this bill. What is your pleasure, Senator Ellis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd ask that this bill also be moved down the list. The sponsors of the bill are not on the floor.
Okay. The next bill for consideration is House Bill 0137. The reading clerk will read the bill in.
House Bill 137, engrossed, State Land Exchanges Public Notice, sponsored by Representative Western, an act relating to state lands. It was referred to Committee Number 5, which returned to committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes Senators Boner, Bouchard, French, and Cost. No Senator Wasserberger. Senator Boner, Chairman.
And we have a winner. What's your pleasure, Senator Boner?
Well, Mr. Chairman, we'll see if we're winner or not. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 137. I'll go ahead and do a brief overview of the bill. Mr. Chairman, apologize I don't have it in front of me because we moved a little quick here. But basically the idea is that when you go through the process of a land exchange with state lands, there's at some point you bring that information to the public. And unfortunately, it's right at the very end of the process. The testimony we heard would be the equivalent of having all our deliberations being secret until, say, second reading in the last house. So what this bill does, and we have a committee of the whole amendment that'll change it up a little bit, simply lets the public know earlier in the process. Right now it stands 30 days after the application is filed. We have an amendment that'll slightly change that to make it a little bit more agreeable to folks. But the idea is that you let the public know earlier in the process so that the OSLI doesn't waste their time on things that may not be palatable, and also just is a good transparency bill as well. So that's the idea behind the bill. We have a committee of the whole amendment that Senator to my left can take care of if we get that read in.
House Bill 137, Committee of the Whole Amendment Number 1 to engrossed copy, page 2, line 18, delete.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Committee of the Whole Amendment 1 to House Bill 137 and ask for your favorable recommendation. What this does is this moves down the line a little bit where they basically are going to let the public know what's going on. Right now, there's nothing in there that lets anybody know, as the good senator was talking about. So on page 2, line 18, we delete not more than, and on page 2, line 19, we put in 30 days after, and we insert upon determination of the director to proceed with the proposed land exchange. And now what that does is that just says, okay, once you've gone through the initial talks and all, and you're to the point where you're serious about really looking into this, now it needs to be published to the people so they can actually see what's going on, so it doesn't become a surprise in the ninth inning. Problem is, right now, with no listing, it's so late that there's not anybody that can ask about it or contest it because they've already gone through all the process. So this puts that on it so that it now goes to a time when you need to put that on the website and make sure people can get it. I would ask for your favorable consideration of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to let you know that one of the sponsors of House Bill 72 is now on the floor, so whenever in the order you'd like to bring that up.
Yeah. House Bill 137 has passed the committee of the whole. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 136. The reading clerk will read in the
House Bill 136, Underground Water Contested Case Hearings, sponsored by Representative Eklund, an act relating to underground water, was referred to Committee Number 5, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes Senators Boner, Bouchard, French, Cost, and Wasserberger. Senator Boner, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Senator Boner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, do so with a favorable recommendation on House Bill 136. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very straightforward enough bill in writing. It's dealing with areas, control areas when it comes to groundwater. There's about 3 of these areas throughout the state where the water table is actively being managed. It has to be managed to balance the rights of current users of that groundwater with folks who might want to further develop those resources. So what this bill does is it deals with the situation where we have an applicant to further develop that groundwater. As you can imagine, that might be controversial if it's already in a control area and existing users are concerned about that resource being depleted. What this bill does is it goes in and it makes sure that the applicant, the person who wants to develop more water, has the burden of proof. The burden of proof is on them in a control area in a contested case to prove that they will not be adversely affecting the water rights of existing users. So it was one of these cases in committee where we took about an hour's worth of testimony. I believe the phrase litigating in the legislature it might apply here, but this is a policy decision, a serious one near as I can tell, about the balance of who has the burden of proof in these areas where water is scarce. So, Mr. Chairman, that's the bill, that's a policy consideration. If you pass this bill, it's going to make it more challenging to develop new water sources in these control areas and protect the existing users. If you vote against it, it's going to be a little bit easier potentially to develop new resources in these control areas, potentially at the expense of current users. So that's a policy decision. I'll stand for questions.
Senator Ellis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just out of curiosity, about how many of these kind of contested cases do we see a year? And I'm just wanting to understand the background and why this request was brought. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Boner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We don't have that information available. We heard lots of testimony about one case. It seemed like it's fairly controversial. If the bill moves forward, we can certainly get that for second reading. Like I said, you'll see there's no Senate sponsors on this House bill, just presenting the basic policy decision. Obviously, once you get into these cases, they can get very heated. It's very controversial. As we like to say in this state, it's whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. So very serious discussion here, and unfortunately we don't have a whole lot of information about except for that one case which we heard an excessive amount of information about in committee. So we can certainly provide more background on second reading if it's the desire of the body to move this forward. And in addition, if anybody else has any questions, I think this deserves some discussion.
Chairman Scott.
Mr. Chairman, question on the bill. It says on page 2, in any contested case here conducted under this section, the applicant, et cetera, does we only see part of this section reproduced here, do we not? Is there any way that this affects underground water and underground water issues that are outside of control area.
Chairman Boner.
Mr. Chairman, no, this is only within control areas. There's 3 in the state. Control areas only, and if you look at the very beginning of page 1, line 10, you'll see it's, hearings, contested cases in control areas. So those are the 2 criteria.
Are you ready for the question? All those in favor when Senator Boner's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 136, say aye. Aye. Opposed? House Bill 136 has passed committee of the whole. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 002. Will the clerk read in the bill?
House Bill number 2, engrossed. Disposition of water rights, sponsored by Select Water Committee, an act relating to the subdivision of land and water rights. It was referred to Committee number 5, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Boner, Bouchard, French, Cost, and Wasserberger. Senator Boner, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Chairman Boner?
Mr. Chairman, I said we lay this back till appropriations gets back. Our select committee chairman's off the floor. We can try to explain it and probably do a half-hour job, but it's probably best if the select committee chairman just gets back and so we can have a more thorough discussion.
We will lay it back. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 0072. Will the clerk read it in, please?
House Bill 72, engrossed. Hunting license application funds, sponsored by Representative Summers, an act relating to game and fish. It was referred to Committee number 6, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes, Senators Ellis, Landon, Salazar, and Schuler. Excused, Senator Guru. Senator Ellis, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Senator Ellis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 72. There was a standing committee amendment. I'd ask that to be read in.
House Bill 72, Standing Committee Amendment number 1 to engrossed copy, page 2, line 14, delete.
Mr. Chairman, I would defer to Senator Driscoll to explain the bill, and when he's done explaining the bill, I will explain and move the standing committee amendment.
Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee of the whole rise report does so with a favorable recommendation on House Bill 72. Folks, hunting license application funds. Go to page 2, it's the meat of the bill. Basically, it says applicant may elect to provide that any fee paid under this section is refundable if the applicant is unsuccessful, or portions of the fee provided in this subsection be retained and deposited by the department into the Wildlife Natural Trust income account. So you can actually donate your fees back in if you're unsuccessful and do it. Provide application on the form. You may elect time application, make a contribution or one or both of the accounts. If you're unsuccessful, department will allow you to contribute the entire amount if you want to, or select a portion of it to contribute the whole dollar amounts. That runs into the amendment that we'll come into, or other amounts specified department not to exceed the amount of the fee. Administrative expenses that they incur will be reimbursed by the Wyoming Wildlife Fund. Folks, just really a good bill. It allows you to make a donation. You put your fee in. Some of these fees are fairly extensive. Says if you're unsuccessful, rather than getting a refund check or getting money back on your credit card, you donate the funds back to the Wildlife Trust Fund, which is a great cause, by the way. I'd ask for your favorable consideration. stand for any questions and have the amendment read in, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe the amendment's already been read in, so I'd move Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to House Bill 72. Senators, in the current draft, if you looked at this, there was some language about the amounts that a person that is willing to donate their fee towards could be done in $20, $50, or $100 increments. In the committee, we discussed, by having these dollar amounts that, if we wanted to change that in the future, it would require legislative action. So rather than have these specific amounts, we thought it would be more appropriate just to allow those amounts to be as specified by the department. So they can do that through rulemaking, and if they need to adjust that in the future, they can do by rule and not have to come back to the legislature. I'd urge your aye vote.
Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of Senator Ellis's motion to adopt Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to House Bill 72, please say aye. Opposed? The motion to adopt Standing Committee Amendment Number 1 to House Bill 72 has passed. We are back on the bill. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of Senator Ellis's motion that when Committee of the Whole rises to report, that it do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 72, say aye. Opposed? House Bill 72 has passed Committee of the Whole. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 89. Will the reading clerk read in the bill?
House Bill 89, Monthly Ad Valorem Tax Revisions Enforcement, sponsored by Representative Greer, an act relating to mineral production, was referred to Committee Number 3, which returned a committee recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Baldwin, Case, Pappas, and Schuler. No, Senator James. Senator Case, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure, Senator Case?
Mr. Chairman, I move that when the Committee of the Whole rises to report, that it do so with a due pass recommendation on House Bill 89. And for an explanation of the bill, I'm looking for some of these fine co-sponsors, Anderson, Coster, Perkins, but I can also do it myself. Cooper's going to do it. Softball, he can do that.
Senator Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 89, it's a real simple piece of legislation. It's intended to complement all the work we've done on ad valorem taxation over the past few years. The previous work has been focused on lien priority and converting to monthly collection. This bill is focused on enforcement. Liens, even with super priority, can take a lot of time to foreclose. This bill allows for quicker enforcement and collection of taxes by allowing the Oil and Gas Commission, with appropriate notification, to temporarily shut in and seal oil and gas wells when the operator fails to pay their ad valorem or severance taxes in a timely fashion. Walking through the bill, the meat of the bill is on page 2, lines 2 through 11. There it says the Department of Taxation may issue a letter to the commission once the operator is 120 days delinquent on the tax payment. The commission is then required to hold a hearing on the matter, which takes 45 days notice. That 45 days gives the operator plenty of time to make the payment before their production is halted. It also gives the commission the discretion to not seal the well, to not seal or shut in the well
for a good cause shown by the operator. For example, if the taxes were actually paid, or if the shutting in would cause irreparable damage to the well, which can happen, then the commission could decline to issue the order. The remaining portion of the bill just cross-references commission's authority. This bill has the support of the commission and industry, and that's it. We'll ask for your favorable consideration.
Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of Senator Case's motion that when the committee of the whole rises and reported, do so with a favorable recommendation of House Bill 89, say aye. Opposed? House Bill 89 has passed committee of the whole. The committee of the whole will stand at ease to the sound of the gavel if the majority floor leader does not make a motion. Oh.
Thank you for your patience. We needed to work through some of that, though, before we sent you out for the weekend, and we need to work through something else here before you go out for the weekend. And we've got the appropriations back on the floor, so we can go to work. But before that, messages from the House.
From the House of Representatives, March 4, 2022, message number 205. Mr. President, the House appointed House conferees to meet with Like Committee Number 1 from the Senate on amendments to Senate File 66. House conferees are Representative Larson, Chairman, Representative Newsom, and Representative Simpson. Message number 204, March 4, 2022. Mr. President, the House appointed House conferees to meet with Like Committee Number 1 from the Senate on amendments to Senate File 67. House conferees are Representative Walters, Chairman, Representative Kinner, and Representative Nicholas. Signed, Wendy Harding, House Chief Clerk.
Standing committee reports.
March 4, 2022, Mr. President, your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, to whom is referred House Bill 27, engrossed visitation rights, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with a recommendation that it do pass amended. Ayes, Senators Bouchard, Hutchings, and McEwen. No, Senators Baldwin and Furphy. Senator Baldwin, Chairman. March 4, 2022, Mr. President, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business, and Economic Development, to whom is referred House Bill 105, Severance Tax Reduction Coal, respectfully reports same back to the Senate with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Senators Anderson, Beitman, Cooper, and Wasserberger. No, Senator Rothfuss. Senator Anderson, Chairman.
Just a minute. Mr. Chairman, I need your patience because we got to go through a little process with the floor leader now and put Senator McEwen back in the chair. But I appreciate. Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, thank you, Mr. President. Just your joint conference committee on the budget came back. We've completed our work. We've got a budget that we'll bring back for to see what you think of it with how we ended up. But we do have that done, so we'll be talking about that on Monday.
We look forward to that. Thank you for all your work. Come on, stand up for the appropriations.
That's an order.
Thank you. Mr. Majority Floor Leader, you folks who are standing, I'm going to call on you for something here, so go ahead.
Hey, Mr. President, I move the Senate resolve itself into committee of the whole.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Back into committee of the whole. Senator McEwen.
Order.
Well, I'm supposed to announce it, but I'm supposed to arrange it with you. Stand up, get privileged.
Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
What does he want?
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman, I move the committee of the whole rise and report. Tried to do that 10 minutes ago.
What happened?
So they were gonna do those 3 bills.
Did I screw something up?
I know, well, they waited.
Those 3 bills are bare. Charlie's gonna fight you. It'll turn into a nightmare. Wait.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
What's that? Yeah. Should we finish these appropriations bills? Are you ready? Okay. Okay. All right. Read the committee of the whole report.
Mr. President, your Committee of the Whole, having had under considerations bills on general file, begs leave to report as follows. House Bill 29, do pass amended. House Bill 137 engrossed, do pass amended. House Bill 136, do pass. House Bill 72 engrossed, do pass amended. House Bill 89 engrossed, do pass. Senator McEwen, Chairman.
Thank you. Senator McEwen.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of Committee of the Whole report.
Heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Let's go to announcements. Please do.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good senators, we have a very special occasion here today. We have the wonderful Taylor children, Sean and Aaron Taylor, who you all probably know from all your time of service here. And their 3 beautiful, intelligent, and wonderful children have come to the Senate, I think, every year of their lives. And so,
They've grown.
and I have had the honor of introducing them to in my time of service. But there's a little write-up that has been prepared, and I would like to read it to you if I may, Mr. President.
Please do.
And if the 3 of you would stand, we have Bison, Slade, and Ava, these wonderful, talented young people of Laramie County. And so I'd like to introduce 3 of my constituents who have been coming to the legislature every year. Hey, I knew this. Since they were born to get introduced to the body. Of course, due to their parents working in the building all these years, it's a fun tradition for their family. Bison Taylor is a senior at Central High School here in Cheyenne and is going to serve in the Wyoming Air National Guard next year for basic and tech training for weather and radar systems. His unit will set up remote air traffic control. He then plans to attend the University of Wyoming, where he will pursue studies in entrepreneurship and business. He plays hockey for the Cheyenne Capitals and is one of the founding members of the Cheyenne Lacrosse Club. He will travel to Atlanta in April to participate in Deccan Nationals next month. Woo, a fellow Atlanta traveler on Deccan Nationals as well, state champion. Bison? Yes. Ava Taylor is a sophomore at Central High School. She is a varsity player for the women's soccer and golf teams and a straight A student. She just turned in her silver credentials for her Congressional Award Medal. Amazing women of Laramie County. Woo. And the youngest, I am also one of those, but not least, Slade Taylor is in the 7th grade at McCormick Junior High School and also plays hockey and lacrosse like his big brother. He adds to his parents' travel schedule by earning a spot on a statewide hockey team as well. Slade, not surprisingly, also earns straight A's. All 3 kids serve as youth volunteers for Cheyenne Frontier Days, and they are amazing assets to our community and wonderful Wyomingites, and we all should be so proud.
We are.
Yay!
She's taller than you.
I've been very good. Folks, the folks would give a wave from the gallery, please? There you go. I can remember when these kids were just peering over the glass, pretty small, so it's been a while. We need a motion to adjourn before the announcements.
Mr. President, I move we stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Monday, March 7th.
Announcements? Senator Groot.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your conference committee on Senate File 67, the Capcom bill, will have a short meeting at 4:30 this afternoon in the JAC room, room 301.
Thank you. We're going to go to Senator Baldwin, and we're going to end with Chairman Perkins. I want him to give us a little recap where we are with everything. Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee number 10, Labor, Health, and Social Services, will meet Monday morning, 8 a.m., room 6, to complete work on HB 92, abortion prohibition, Supreme Court decision.
Senator Landon.
Mr. President, thank you. Your Transportation Committee heads up to the Transportation Committee. We will meet upon adjournment Monday to take up House Bill 64. We will revisit that bill because a third member of our committee had to depart today, and so lacking a quorum, we will need to just revisit, and so we will take up House Bill 64 upon adjournment Monday evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Chairman Perkins, would you give us a recap of where we're at budget-wise, the bills on the board, that type of thing, all things appropriations?
Well, you want me to, we'll bring a profile back and do that on Monday as part of our report. So we finished the Joint Conference Committee on the budget is just pretty much like any other one. It's just longer and the bill's longer. And there's 5 members. So we've arranged to have a meeting on Sunday evening to finalize the conference report and for the chairman to sign that and enough members, majority of the members to sign that. And so then that conference report will come back to both floors on Monday morning. We'll go through that. We'll have a summary sheet that shows the disposition, kind of like we had before, but it'll show the disposition of all amendments and whether they were adopted or deleted and further amended. And you'll see that. It will also go through the profile and show you where we are now with the budget in the profile and the other bills that are out there. We're also busy about that. And then we'll have the chance to either concur with that or not. And if we need to visit about it, it's up to them. Sometimes we caucus about that, sometimes we don't. But we'll go through that. We'll do that report on Monday and go through it and tell you what happened to each of your amendments, and also do some explanation of amendments that were adopted in the House and some of that process. So overall, I think the Senate came out very well in the budget. There weren't a lot of dollar differences in the budget, and most of it had to do with trips and flips and dips and things like that. And we continued, I think we continue to move that to where it's more straightforward, more clear, and we all understand that better. At the same time, I think we preserve some of the traditional funding for education that they have wanted, and we all recognize we need to fund education. So I think education actually came out a little bit better under the final than it was going in, but that's okay. And we'll talk about that and have those explanations, and listen, I'd be happy to take on your questions on Monday.
Okay.
And then the CapCon bill is that a committee's been appointed. The other bill has been appointed. It turns out one of the things that they really did in there is they took a bill that a large water bill that didn't make it out of Senate appropriations, and they kind of put about half of that back into that bill. That accounts for a significant amount of that increase, but it still does spend a substantial, I think there's up in the air, somewhere between $10 and $60 million left of direct ARPA that we haven't expended during this, but that bill's the one that takes care of it, and we'll talk about that more when we hear back from the conference committee after they do their work. So I think that concludes my report, other than the fact that I'm going to have a grandchild tomorrow.
Congratulations, Grandpa. You can put the picture, like Senator Landon will expect a picture up on your computer.
So should hopefully 20 minutes after 7 o'clock tomorrow, he'll be here, and I will be there, and I will see you probably Tuesday. So
We wish you and your family all the best, sir. Thank you for that report. Okay, folks, head home, contemplate budget, contemplate redistricting, and we'll be back here Monday. And weather? We're fighting weather tomorrow? 5 to 7 inches of snow? I live in this building. I spend too much time inside this building. Okay, everybody, you've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Travel safely. Senate adjourned until 10 o'clock Monday.